Hey guys, yeah, I know it's been a while since the last time I recorded for you guys, but so a lot of people have been asking me where I stand for Vanguard as right now as far as decks go. Currently, the only thing that I'm really playing is Kagero, and the reason for that mainly being is it's the deck that I enjoy most playing. Anybody who has watched my channel over the years knows it's my favorite clan, but unfortunately, right now Kagero is just not top tier, and that's fine. I still enjoy playing it. Um, right now, Excel 2 clans are just basically dominating the meta right now, simply just for being able to ride that grade 3, get the draw, plus have multiple attackers on the field. It's just too good. As far as decks that you'll see in the future from me, you will definitely see Narukami and Aquaforce. I really want to finish Narukami. That's going to probably be my first priority. And then I want to build Aquaforce. And then I definitely want to update Shadows at some point. Um, just let me know what you guys mainly want to see. If I can make it happen, I will. There's very few decks that I will not be building. I will not be building Pale Moon, so no one asked for that. If you want to see Pale Moon, go check out my friend Siren Frost. I'm pretty sure she'll be doing Pale Moon. Um, I've just not building that thing again because I'm pretty sure everybody remembers how bad that deck worked for me. So anyway, guys, let's just jump straight into this. So you got your basic starter. Doesn't really matter which one you run. You're only going to get a draw out of it anyway. So I'm hoping eventually effect starters come into standard, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. For triggers, we're going 6 crit, 4 draw PGs, and 2 extra draws, and the 4 heal triggers. In order for Kagero to even have a chance of hanging with the current meta, they have to maintain a hand. So the draw triggers help with that. Your all 3 of the grade 3s in this deck restand. So I look at when you're having restanding vanguards, you can play a little less on the crit triggers if you're getting multiple attacks from your vanguard. I could see dropping 1 draw and going to 7 crit, but I just like the 6 draw triggers. It's always worked for me. So that's just my opinion on that. For grade 1s, 4 copies of Ermo. Ermo is just standard Kagero at this point. This is in both premium and standard decks. She's just too good. She's an 11k booster, and if a rear guard is retired during your turn, you can retire her to countercharge and draw a card. So maxing out on her is a must. 4 copies of Sable Dragonuit. Sable Dragonuit is pretty much the other grade 1 that you're going to play in any Kagero deck you use. Simply being, he is the ideal grade 1 ride if you're going second. Because what's really cool about him... Where did you go? If you ride over your starter, you're going to draw a card, and then when you attack, you're going to drive check a card, and then if his attack hits, you're going to draw a card, and with his drive check, if you hit a draw trigger on top of that, you're going to draw quite a bit on your opening move, and that's really, really good. His other effect is if one of your opponent's rear guards is retired on your turn, you can retire him to draw a card. So he does nothing but help you filter your hand and increase your hand size, so he is very, very good. 3 copies of Rayopia. This is something a lot of people I've seen that play Kagero are cutting. I don't know why. I actually really, really like this card. If a rear guard on your opponent's field is dropped or retired, he gains +5. So it's a way to get a pretty big boost for possibly a restand on a Neoflame attack or something like that. He's just too good, in my opinion, to not play at least at 2 or 3. For the last grade 1 slot, 2 copies of Dragonic Gaius. Dragonic Gaius is not a great option. Doesn't mean he's bad. He's just kind of there if you catch your opponent at like the perfect situation. It's if they're sitting with a low hand size when you ride into your first Overlord. He's really, really good because you can just use his effect to give the Overlord +1 crit. And it then makes it a must that they have to guard it, which means they'll have to either spend a lot of hand to make sure that doesn't happen, or that means they're going to be taking possibly 2 attacks from him, and he's sitting at 2 damage. So Gaius is good in spots. I really don't know what else that last slot could be. I want to test Red Dive Griffin. I just haven't gotten him yet. The card's worth like under $1, but I haven't been able to find it. But grade 2s, 4 copies of Berserk Dragon. Like Eremo and Sable Dragon knew it. Berserk Dragon, this card has just become synonymous with Kagero simply because it's the ideal grade 2 ride for also both standard and premium. Because when placed, if it's on the Vanguard, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, retire any of your opponent's rear guards, and then you also get to draw a card. And then when he's on the rear guard, if you have more rear guards than your opponent does, he attacks for 13. So, very good card. For maxing out on him is a no-brainer. 4 copies of Draconic Neoflame. This will kind of tell you some part of the grade 3 lineup. Neoflame, whenever the Great attacks, you can counterblast 2 to give him +1 crit and +5k. And since he's going to be able to be called from the drop zone, if you do open up with these in the early game, you can call them and just attack with them. I think the Great engine is still needed in Kagero because you need a form of attacker that you're okay to lose, and since Neoflame is revivable through the Great, it's basically you're not really minusing, sort of, because you can call it for free, it returns for free. It's just a good spammable resource for the deck, and it really needs it. So I think Neoflame is still needed. 2 copies of Full Armor Buster. Full Armor Buster, he does have a pretty high cost. If he's rotor called, you can Soul Blast 2 cards, retire any unit on your opponent's field, and then you get to look at the top 7 of your deck for any Overlord and add it to your hand. And then if your opponent has no rear guards, he gains 3k, and that ability is continuous. So if during your opponent's turn, if they have no rear guards, he's 13k. So he's mainly here for consistency issues. He's good at 2 to 3. I wouldn't play him at 4. And then lastly, 2 copies of Burnout. Once per turn, you can counterblast 1, return a grade 2 or higher from your drop zone to the bottom of your deck, and you can retire any unit on the field. He's good for a spot-on retire. He works really good against Royal Paladins. He works really good against Gold Paladins. He actually just works against Paladins in general, actually. Whether it be Royal, Gold, or Shadow, and he does really good against clans like Aquaforce, because you really want to get rid of like their Algos and things like that. So he is there for that, and he can just help clear boards. So for grade 3s, I guarantee my lineup might surprise you a little bit. 4 copies of Draconic Overlord. You want to ride this one first, just for the simple fact being he is so good if you're going first, and you can get 2 attacks out of him and push for just that damage. The ability to just swing at your opponent when they're on grade 2, and if they hit, you can restand and attack a second time. If you hit a crit on top of it or use Gaius, that's even more threatening. Even if they want to stop his attack and not have you restand, they're going to most likely waste a perfect guard, and well, not waste, because it's protecting their damage output, but it gets rid of one of their perfect guards. So he just is the ideal first grade 3. 3 copies of the Great. Draconic Overlord the Great, in my opinion, like I said, with Neoflame, I still think he's a necessity for the deck, because you need some way to continue to get cards back without the necessary of drawing them or hitting draw triggers or adding them to your hand, like through your draw phase and things like that. The Great, so obviously when he's placed, you can superior call 1 copy of Neoflame out of your drop zone. After he attacks, you can counterblast 1, discard 2 cards from your hand. If there's an Overlord in your soul, him and a Neoflame on your field restand, so you can get 5 attacks. That's big for Kagero. I really think this is still a very much needed card in the deck. And then for the last grade 3, believe it or not, I only play one copy of the End. And the reason for that is the End is not really good a first turn ride. If you ride any of these first, you like I said, you ideally want to ride just Draconic Overlord first and then ride the Great. But riding the Great first is also not necessarily bad, especially if you have a Neoflame in your drop zone. But the End is only really good in certain situations because if your opponent's at 2 damage, there's no point in riding the End. I know a lot of people play, like, they'll play 4 copies of Draconic Overlord and then they'll play 4 Great, and they build their deck to basically go to the End, swing, use the Wyvern Strike to cats, so they have to guard extra, and they use Red Dive Griffin, and they basically just try and overpower their opponent and YOLO for crits. But that's just, I just don't play that way. I'm more of a anybody who's seen me play knows I'm more controlling. I play more controlish style of decks, and I prefer using this as a finisher, not as a YOLO, I'm swinging for the fences kind of thing. Um, because now, if you ride him second, it's still not bad because you can still get 2 attacks out of him. But when you're going for the 3 attack turn, or the kill shot, if you will, if you miss on that kill shot, you lose. Um, so I think this card's really going to shine the most in premium, and which is the deck that I'll be bringing you guys once I get everything together. So only one copy of the End in my current standard deck, but it does still put in quite a bit of work when I draw it, and I do see it fairly frequently, to be honest. So that is my current Kagero standard deck profile. It's still a lot of fun to play. I still will Kagero will always be my favorite clan, but it's built to the best of its ability that it can be played currently. I'm hoping the next wave of Kagero support that we get, whenever that might be, they do something with the Perdition Dragons. I'd really like to see Vortex come back. That'd be really cool. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Again, I'm sorry it's been so long before I recorded again. I'm really going to try to record at least a little bit more often. I don't want to set you guys up telling you I'm going to do 1 video a week, but I will try and do a little more. So, like I said, I will be doing updates on Shadows eventually. I want to finish up Narcomi, and I want to build Aquaforce. If there's any other deck that you guys would like to see, please let me know. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you're all doing great, and I'll see you next time.